So here we are at the table once again with another footwear review. Today I will be saying a few words about these boots here, and they are the Merrell Moab FST version 1. Bought these boots about a year ago in 2018, and since then Merrell has released a second version of the Moab FST with a slightly lighter sole section. And as far as I can tell, that seems to be the biggest difference between the version 1 and the version 2, is that the version 2 is slightly lighter. Okay, well, diving in right away. As you can see, I have the laces off. Stock out of the box, I wasn't too pleased with either the laces or the insoles, and so I swapped them out immediately for some Spenco and some DuPont Kevlar laces. After that, the comfort of these boots was pretty on point. I can't really say anything bad about it in that sense. The break-in period was virtually non-existent. So out of the box, personally for me, there was some issues with the comfort, but that was because of the stock laces and stock insoles, which were easily replaced. And after that, they fit fine, at least in terms of comfort. Personally, for me, when I went to try them on, my foot's 8.5, usually upsized to a 9 with the socks I have. A lot of people will say these are true to fit. I found the 8.5s to be too tight, and then the 9s were just a bit too loose. If they made them in a size 8 3/4, that probably would have been absolutely perfect, but 8 3/4 sizes, that's like dress shoe dimensions, not hiking boot stuff. So what are you gonna do? Even though the fit felt a little loose, I still had no issues with it. It wasn't. It was just. It was more of a nitpick than an actual comfort issue. I never felt like my feet were facing any issues because the fit felt a little loose. And that looseness in the fit is probably just something I'm more aware of because I do wear Solomons more often than any other boot, and Solomons are known to be particularly tight. So now moving on to the boot itself, these are worn boots. They've probably got about at least 1,000 kilometers on them. What I've been using them for mostly is just quick jaunts around town, go to the library, and then, hit the Bruce Trail after that sort of thing. So they're just kind of like light use. In that respect, going to the store, going shopping, if I don't want to put on my 43s, then I can just slap on the Merrell Moab FSTs and have at it. Now, being that this is more of a shoe than a boot, it's like a very low-cut mid boot. There are some concessions that have been made in terms of its overall durability. Oh, yeah, for the last little while I was using a Solomon insole. And particularly here at the toe bend, you can see here, like that's a pretty big hole. That happened on both sides. This is the left side boot, so that happened on both sides there. And it also happened a little bit here. So that mesh material, that's not very durable there. And so that it stayed intact on the outside of the right side, but on every other spot, you've got deep finger-sized holes. And not that this mesh material is waterproof, so having a big hole in there isn't really an issue because it's not a waterproof material to begin with. So that's another thing. So, initially the durability is pretty good. There are some spots, toe bend that take a hit. Tread durability is fairly good. I was honestly expecting a little bit more from the Vibram label because it does that particular brand name, Vibram, does carry a lot of weight when you're talking about treads. And I gotta be honest, I was expecting a little bit more out of the heel section here, where, after 1,000 kilometers of mixed urban and trail, I would have expected it to last a little bit longer. You can see there. Honestly, I would have expected the treads to last longer just with the Vibram name. Given that it is more of a shoe style, I didn't expect to hit close to 1,500 or 2,000 kilometers like what I can expect out of a pair of Salomon boots. But it is a shoe, and given that design, you can expect certain things to wear out a little bit faster, at least in the treads. And another thing I've been thinking is this lower. One thing I thought would happen was this lower tread section would have separated, because it does seem very thin in some places, particularly right here. And in some other areas where it's not specifically a tread lug, you can see that it is very thin. And I was actually surprised seeing how quickly these treads actually wore away, that this tread piece didn't peel away from the upper sole. So as I was actually impressed with that. I was disappointed that the treads didn't last longer, but I was surprised that the treads didn't peel. Okay, so now, and let's see. So it does say that it is this M-Select dry material, and I can tell you safely that these boots suck. The waterproofing on these boots sucks. I'm used to the Gore-Tex that you see in Salomon, or a polyurethane breathable barrier in the likes of the Dakota boots that you can go watch a review I did of. So, I'm more accustomed to a physical barrier that blocks water, rather than just layers of non-waterproof materials that have been treated with DWRs to make them waterproof. And so that's what's in this. That's what the materials that's in these boots. There is not a membrane layer in these boots. It is just treated materials. And as such, the best you can hope for waterproofiness out of these boots is a light rain. Even just walking through damp grass, your feet will get wet. That is, I can say that safely with 100% certainty, that, walking through a wet field, splashing through puddles, these guys will leave you wanting and wet. So I feel like these boots would be better if they weren't waterproof at all, but had much higher breathability, so that if they get wet, they can dry out more effectively while you're walking. It just seems like waterproof materials, once they get wet, seem to take, when they soak out, like a shoe that's got waterproof stuff in it. Once a soaked shoe that is waterproof, it just takes that much longer to dry out for some reason. So yeah, I feel like if they just did away with the waterproofing, and just made it more breathable, I feel like that would be better than having these boots be waterproof at all, because the waterproofing that is there is effectively useless, at least in my opinion. So, quick words, blah, 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 blah. So, after some quick words about the fit, the initial out-of-box comfort, the tread durability, the overall durability, I would say I'm kind of on the fence with these guys. They are definitely good boots. The tread is not as durable as I would hope. The toe bend area obviously has some issues. Now, keep in mind, this is not a structural issue. These holes do not affect the structure of the shoe, but aesthetically, it looks terrible. And then, of course, the waterproofiness of the boot, which I feel shouldn't even exist. These should be non-waterproof, fully breathable. Pardon me. Because the waterproofing that is there is not effective. Overall, I would rate these probably about a 6.5 out of 10. The price is not bad. They do have. I just occurred to me that there is a Gore-Tex version of these, but the price is very high, as it is a Gore-Tex product, and I don't feel like just putting Gore-Tex into this package is really worth it, because primarily for me it'd be the toe bend. I mean, if the Gore-Tex stability hinges on this area remaining intact, then that could be a problem. But beyond that, they're a solid 6.5 out of 10. Personally, would I go out of my way to get these boots again? Not really. It is more like a shoe. I do prefer a boot, and as much as I only use them for light duty stuff, going to the store, hour-long hike, that type of thing, I was disappointed that the tread did not last longer. I mean, as you can see, it's erasing that M there, and I would still be wearing these boots if the grind on the heels wasn't hurting my ankles. So yeah, final thoughts. 6.5 out of 10, and I give it a 6.5 out of 10 because the out-of-box comfort wasn't quite spot on as I was hoping for, or as other reviews had led me to believe. And so having to swap out the laces and the insoles, that lost some points. And I was also a little bit disappointed with the durability of the treads. They are durable. Like, don't get me wrong, they didn't peel, they didn't crack, they didn't flake. But they just didn't last as long as I hoped for out of a shoe / boot of this type. So that is my review of the Merrell Moab FST. And by the way, if you're wondering what the FST stands for in the Moab FST, it means fit, stability, and traction. And I would agree that Merrell definitely designed this boot focusing on those aspects. And I wouldn't disagree that they missed the mark. They definitely hit the mark in terms of fit, stability, and traction. It is a decent fit. The treads are well stable, from slippery urban floors to slippery trails. These guys will do you no harm. And, The traction and stability and traction are kind of similar. I mean, I would say, like, how much does your foot move around for stability and how much does the boot move around for traction. But yeah, they hit the mark on all points. I would just like to see a few more areas of the boot improved in terms of its durability. And I would also like to see a completely non-waterproof version. And so, yeah, if a little bit better out of the box insoles and laces, a little bit better durability at the heel bend, and I mean, for me personally, walking around as much as I do, I'm gonna murder treads faster than anybody, at least in my opinion. So I mean, if you only wore these for hiking, they could theoretically last you for years. But for me personally, I would like to see the tread durability improved. And so that's it. Yep. 6.5 out of 10 for me. Anyone else might give it a higher rating, but that's what I got. All right. I hope this has helped give you some information about the Merrell Moab FST. Thanks for watching.